For the visitors who are joining the first time, you may also click on the WhatsApp, Facebook, and the LinkedIn link on the chat box to get updates on the weekly basis and join us in creating more leaders. Also, we request all our members and visitors to turn on your videos to see your smiling faces, which will help us in making this episode highly interactive. So, are we all ready to interact with our guest, Mr. Ramesh Alluri, VP Business Head, the Adecco Group, on the topic of the power of people analytics? Then please type yes in the chat box. Thank you, Bhavani, Mr. Arul. Yeah. Thank you. Before the introduction of the guest, let me also take the privilege to introduce the founder of the Leaders Connect, Mr. Prakash Sharma. Today, Mr. Pankaj Vyas from the Bija training will have an interaction with our guest, along with our panel discussion leader, Ms. Archana Sreeram, HR specialist. I shall welcome all. Over to Mr. Pankaj Vyas.
Thank you, Nellai. So good evening all. Good evening, Ramesh. Good evening, Archana, and all the visitors. So I take this opportunity as Prakash is not there. So it is my responsibility to take this event forward. So before we move forward, I would like to have a quick video introduction of our guest of honor, Mr. Ramesh Alluri, and our panel discussion leader, Ms. Archana. So Arul, if you can play the introduction video for our panel discussion leader and our guest of honor, Mr. Ramesh. Thank you. Over to you. Wow, that was awesome. Thanks, Arun. So, Ramesh sir, you have such a versatile experience, and for sure, your experience will help us to learn something for sure, and that will add value to each one of us who are here to hear you. So, before we move forward, how it is going to be. So, as we move forward, our panel discussion leader, Ms. Archana, will have a discussion with Mr. Ramesh. Post that, we will have a quick quiz, a poll quiz from the learnings which Mr. Ramesh will be sharing. So there will be one quick quiz. And the winner of the quiz will be getting a book from our side. And there will be an author. Okay, so there will be an introduction of the author. So author will also be there. Then we'll have an open house discussion. Open questions will be there for the people out here. And then we can, after the discussion, we can close by 7:30. So that's how the program is going to be. So Archana, over to you for the panel discussion. Thank you so much. And once again, Ramesh sir, I welcome you personally on behalf of Leaders Connect, the Master Leadership, and BJ Training. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pankaj, for the introduction. Good evening, Mr. Ramesh. So before I even dig into the questions, I apologize for the abrupt beginning because I just logged in, and the moment I logged in, I heard voices saying hi and all. So I'm so sorry. I just said a simple hi and not a good introduction that we had. So now going further into the questions, and let us start soon. So when we say, or when we talk about, say, the people analytics, so it is quite often seen that major organizational decisions which are taken, it is often taken after analyzing the people scenarios and the opinions and the views. So is there something more which we need to know about the people analytics, in the sense that could you please elaborate as to what exactly is this term and how specially can HR benefit from it?
Sure, sure. So first of all, I wanted to thank Leaders Connect, Pankaj, Arul, Prakash is not here. So, and Archana, thank you so much. I think it's a privilege to be here. I would obviously want to put my experience to use. So I hope this session is found useful by everybody. I'll give you the best of the knowledge I've gained over the past 3 decades. So coming to your question on what exactly is people analytics from a HR perspective, Archana. So when you look at HR as a function, so HR can spread across a talent acquisition perspective, from a candidate or an employee engagement perspective, from an L&D perspective, or even from a comp and bin perspective. So we will not cover the HR BP aspects of HR in this. But if you take this four-fold view of what HR professionals do across the organizations, I would like to spend about 7 to 8 minutes covering how AI and the power of analytics can help across each one of these functions that HR operates on. So first, let's go to a talent acquisition point of view. So from a talent acquisition point of view, today there are a lot of skill-based talent search engines which are powered by AI, and they use quite a bit of text analytics to parse huge amount of data to give the right match. Then not only that, in many cases, there are interviews which happen through a virtual assistant. So interviews do not happen always through human intervention today because of the power of analytics and AI. We've got digital assist-based interviews for screening and even initial evaluation for common skills. Even the recruitment scheduling. So if you look at recruitment as a function, talent acquisition, so there's one part of sourcing, the other part which is more into the recruitment coordination. So the interview scheduling, engaging with the candidate, all that can be done through chatbots and assistants, digital assistants. And analytics comes into play to see how likely that candidate is interested and how the person is willing to put forth his or her best for that particular role. So then there's digital onboarding and induction, which happens, especially during this pandemic. Everything went virtual, so the onboarding happens digitally. So the feedback analytics on how the experience was for the candidates also can be done using these the power of people analytics. Finally, you can have a candidate ranking based on the skill set, based on certifications, based on the past experiences, just like a Uber a ride, you rate the driver and the driver rates you. So you can actually have a rating for and build a database to have the best candidates. So if you look at it from a people analytics perspective, just from a TA, we are talking of video analytics, text analytics, and even sentiment and feedback analytics. So these are the kind of analytics which unfold just from a talent acquisition perspective. Now, if you want to look at it from a employee engagement perspective, because one of the key roles of HR is also to engage with the employees. So how do you make sense of the surveys, employee surveys that you roll out, maybe quarterly or half yearly or a yearly surveys? What kind of analytics can you gather to understand what the culture should be and whether everything is happening? So I'll give you an example instead of just talking about. So there can be very toxic environments where in certain pockets, the managers do not take the team along, but use very probably abusive language, or there is favoritism. Now, the power of people analytics would unearth all that by just analyzing the employee surveys. So that's another use case. Similarly, if you look at today, everything the employee does in terms of interaction with various groups, it could be the IT group, it could be even travel and expenses claim, it could be FinOps, it could be on TA as well. Suppose they're referring a candidate, so it is a candidate referral. So all the interactions which they do can be automated through chatbots, and analytics comes into play to understand the sentiment of the employee, how engaged, how satisfied he or she is with this. Similarly, organizations today also take mileage on appraisals. So how well they've been performing, has there been a performance dip? Based on that, do you want to do interventions which are specific, very customized to that particular employee? So that, see, always I believe that organization should be a caring and empowering organization. So if someone has a lacunae, the point of view should not be how do I replace the person. First, you should make an earnest attempt to see how to make that person better by giving the right interventions, being through L&D or being through mentorship or whatever it is. So employee analytics comes into play in all this. Huh? And similarly, project tenure based analysis, suggesting the best opportunity. We spoke about Uber-like ratings. So if someone has a very high rating, then they probably are given a project of their choice in the country of their choice, if at all it's an on-site offshore model. So those are the kind of things you can do from an engagement perspective. And finally, I just wanted to take a minute on learning and development, and from a compound bin perspective, role-based, hyper-personalization-based training interventions can be given, like I told you, based on all the analytics that you do on the employees. This is from an L&D perspective. And not only that, when the training is delivered, that training is hyper-personalized. When I say what I mean by that is the fact that each individual is different. So the kind of questions, the pace at which the training should run, the pace at which the complexity of the questions, everything can be tweaked to ensure that the employee feels comfortable and satisfied. So that's another thing which you can achieve through people analytics. Finally, from a compound bin perspective, niche, skill-based bonus, market parity, based on all these, you can really look at the right payout structures, customized payout structures, incentives specific for a period based on the market reality. So these are multitude of things you can do with the power of people analytics for a HR organization.
Wow, I must say this was very, very, very elaborative. I loved it because, I could see from your profile that there are lots of points of using artificial intelligence and big data and all those things. But now I'm actually seeing a live example of how it can be utilized for decision making. So thank you very much for the beautiful insights into it, and especially telling from the HR's point of view. So since you have profound experience into this, I would really love to know if you suggest any apps or software for using analytics, people analytics.
Absolutely. So see, I wouldn't want to suggest an app in this, but I can at least tell you what are the different apps people use. Each one has its own pros and cons. So this session is more of a knowledge sharing session where we will not promote any particular app. But from a talent acquisition perspective, there are a lot of applicant tracking systems. So Bullhorn is one example. We can talk of Hirecraft. That's another example. Info is another example from Salesforce.com. So there are quite a bit of applicant tracking systems that are there. Not only that, to unleash the power of AI, there are tools like MapRecruit, Daxtra, which look at volume hiring. So especially for RPO, recruitment process outsourcing kind of interventions, they really come in handy. So that's another set of tools which you can look at. Then from an assessment perspective, you've got tools like I'mInterviewed.com, Flow Carrier, etc., etc., etc. So there are quite a bit of tools where you can do pre-assessments before you choose the right candidate and then submit the profiles to the end customer. So that's another place where you can really unleash the power of the analytics, AI, and all these tools. See, there can be customized tools also companies can build based on, for example, we were speaking about appraisal system. That's sensitive data. So you may want to build a customized app for your particular, maybe there's a 360-degree feedback that is very important, and you want to do analytics based on that. You just don't rely on only the supervisors rating the employee. So that has to be very customized. So there are a lot of options on customized and bespoke solutions as well. So those would be some examples, Archana.
That's nice, Mr. Ramesh. Thank you so much. In fact, I have experience working in one ATS as well. So when I worked on it, just like what you said, there were ratings and reviews. So frankly speaking, I was not even aware of what is this. I just thought that, okay, it's just an added advantage onto it. But now when listening to you, I'm coming to know that, okay, this was actually a part of people analytics and I never got to use it. So, passing comments about the particular candidate, all those things were actually in there, apart from generating reports, customized reports, otherwise existing ones. So all these are actually part of people analytics and we were not aware of it. We just stuck to the normal recruiting process. So thank you very much for, giving us an insight into it. Thanks again for that. So
just to intervene before you go to the next question. So it's very important for any AI engine or any analytics to have the right data. So the tools are there, but the adoption by the HR community and the employees or the candidates or the recruitment teams or recruitment firms is extremely important, because if you do not have, like you said, there are a lot of comments you can put in. So today there are tools which do text analytics, parsing the text and trying to find out very important sentiments or many important points which are useful to either the candidate or the organization or whichever side. But the fact is, if you do not put in the right data, if you don't put in any data, then it cannot give you any analytics. If you don't put in the right data, then junk in is junk out. So it's extremely important for organizations to adapt very well to use these tools properly. So organization change management, driving this from the top to ensure that people take this very seriously, and then measuring the data which is being put, and also doing audits to ensure that the right kind of data is going in, and doing all the reviews based on tools. These are extremely important steps to ensure that tool adoption happens properly, because without that, all this will never become a reality.
Rightfully said, Mr. Ramesh. So we have to basically utilize all this data for the benefit of us, for the benefit of the organization. Otherwise, it just, just like you said, junk in is junk out. So we end up with a pile of information about the candidates, but we never put it to use. So understanding the analytics, understanding the people analytics and understanding all these tools which we have in front of us is actually going to help us in going ahead a lot in the life. So now coming to this important aspect. So in your experience, has there ever been an organizational decision or an important decision being taken because of using people analytics, by using people analytics? Sorry.
100%. I can give you several examples, but I'll probably give you the top 3 or 4. I'll only give examples, then you can understand how the power of people analytics was used. So in one of my previous organizations, we used to have very seasonal demands. So that happens even today. For example, not for technology hiring, but for today, now it's the Diwali season. So if you look at Amazon or Flipkart, all this big $1 billion sale and etc., they're all very seasonal. Similarly, in the US, if you look at it, there are football events, US Open. So all these seasonal demands, and they also come in with certain skill sets. So one example of Power People Analytics where it was used was to see, based on heuristics, what kind of demands will come when, and then accordingly calibrate the bench so that you have the right number of people to work on the projects and there's no lost business opportunity. So this is one example. Second example was using sentiment analytics, attrition, predicting the attrition. So you know that the employee is not happy because of the kind of interactions he or she is having, either through the chat bot or even on phone lines. So there are tools today as we speak. One example would be NICE, where it's called contact center analytics. So if anybody calls on phone, you actually, and if the person is yelling or says that I really am damned about the situation, I don't like working here, some strong words like this, the tool will capture that, and on a scale of 1 to 10 will say that this is 1 or 2. And there are tools which even send SMS during the conversation real time to the supervisor, saying that, hey, look, this person is disgruntled. It can be used for call centers, like you want to call ICICI and you're high net worth individual. So that can be one use case. It can also be used for employees. So that's another example. And that's a potential attrition, be it as attrition of a customer or attrition of an employee. So that's a second use case. The third use case is pandemic. During the pandemic time, because very recent digital onboarding was very much in vogue. So the kind of feedback, the experience the candidates went through, because we needed it to be very smooth. Everything from delivering your laptops to getting digital IDs, everything has to happen seamlessly without human intervention. So feedback analytics, to ensure that the candidate onboarding experience is extremely good, was one use case, because the company believed that unless you have that in place, the employees are not going to stick with them and it's going to be potential attrition. So these would be 2-3 use cases I wanted to bring to the table.
Wow, Mr. Ramesh, this is like excessive. So, I, frankly speaking, I had zero idea about it, because yes, just like you said, that we can use analytics to analyze if a person is, disturbed or unhappy working with a particular organization. Actually speaking, we had a particular software wherein we were installed. It was not into our usage much, but we were informed that if you're chatting with people and then you will come, people will come to know that all the messages are encrypted. So I didn't do much research of it. But what I thought is, okay, fine, maybe the person who's working in the database is going to have probably hacked in and is going to check the messages. But now is when I'm coming to the point that, okay, this is actually artificial intelligence stuff. So this is actually very beautiful. And I'm sure that there are many people who have this running in their mind, that people analytics is not just about analyzing the people data, but from the human interaction, but we're actually meaning by using the various softwares and various apps to make sure that we are actually analyzing the data. We're using big data, we're using artificial intelligence. So this is actually very nice of you to give insights on this. Now coming to another important aspect. So just like you said that various decisions are taken. The endpoint of any organization, any company is basically to get some success. So could you tell that how can we effectively utilize this people analytics in implementing the succession planning for an organization?
Yeah. So if you look at succession planning, see, we spoke about two important concepts during the course of the last 20-25 minutes. One was Uber-based, Uber-like ratings, where you can stack rank either candidates or employees, whichever. So it depends on the use case. So when you're looking at succession planning, you do this kind of stack ranking to see who are the really top potential candidates. The first good thing about this is it is no more just based on gut. So because you're using hard data, so you know you're backed by data, and data which has been not just collated, which is one-off. So you probably are doing appraisal analytics, like I spoke about, 360-degree feedback from peers, from subordinates. So how well that leader is engaged with various layers in the organization, and how well the teams across accept this person as a leader. So there are so many such insights you could gather and do this stack ranking. So with this stack ranking, you first identify the top talent who can potentially be in the succession plan for key roles. So this is the first point on how people analytics can really help in terms of succession planning. The second is, after you identified the set of people, as I told you before, you need to have very customized, hyper-personalized interventions, because there are various leaders. Everybody is good at something or the other. But at the same time, it is also a hard fact that everybody has a place for improvement. So everybody cannot be good at everything. So that's the hard truth. And you really know for this particular role or job, these are the KPIs which are extremely important. And if we know that there is a lacuna in that person, but 70% he or she is the right fit, how can we hone the skills of the rest 30% to make that person really succeed in his or her next role, which is the succession plan? So that's what the people analytics can help you. So very hyper-personalized interventions. It can be individual mentoring. So it can be, you can have an executive coach for very senior roles, shadowing the leader, just to observe and report and say how he or she has to interact in open forums, or public speaking skills. In slightly lesser senior roles, it could be about soft skills. It could be about how the person is giving feedback. Is there a better way to give feedback which is more acceptable and more digestible for the people around? And for even junior roles, it could even mean skills. So I think these would be the kind of interventions you really need to look at. That's how I think this will really help in succession planning.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ramesh. It's beautiful interacting with you, basically, because, before we even came for the session, we just went by the literal meaning of it, that is analyzing the people data. But now, after interaction, we're coming to know there are so many things in analyzing the people's data. We were not even aware of it, or we were not even putting it to use. But I'm pretty sure now that that pathway has been created, and now we are actually going to think on why this particular data is there. How can we put it to use? Thank you so much for the session. It was very interactive, and I'm pretty sure there are plenty of questions lying with the audience already, because before we even wind it up, there are questions which have started coming up already. I'm not too sure if you have the chat box open, but yes, people do have questions in their mind. So thank you so much, Mr. Ramesh. I'll probably I'll be offline now. So over to you, Mr. Pankaj. Thank you so much, Mr. Ramesh, for the interaction.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you so much. Wonderful interacting with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Archana. Thank you for being a wonderful panel discussion leader and amazing insights by you, Ramesh sir. The dynamics has changed post-COVID, right? And people used to think that HR is one of the department which is very easy to operate. But now people should realize that that is one of the most important, department, and really takes a lot of effort for the people management, right? To have the right person for the right job and having that sustainability of an individual along with the organization, right? So the importance of data, the way you have told, for sure will help us to analyze people more effectively and have the right people in our organization or workplace. So thank you so much. So now moving forward, we'll have a short quiz, a quick quiz But before the quiz for this week, let me have this privilege to announce the quiz winner for last week, Mr. Sengupal. So Mr. Sengupal was the winner for last week quiz, and he has been given the Mass Leadership book by Mr. Prakash Sharma, right? So congratulate Mr. Sengupal for winning the Mass Leadership book from Mr. Prakash Sharma. So to invite to conduct today's quiz, I would like to invite Mr. Ugandar, and you can conduct the quiz for the week. Thank you so much. Do we have Mr. Ugandar there?
Hi, Pankaj.
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
hi Ugandar. So you
yeah.
can take the quiz for the week.
Yeah, thank you, Pankaj. Thank you for giving me opportunity. Before taking the quiz, I would like to thank Mr. Ramesh Alluri Reddy as well as Archana for taking this beautiful conversation, and in fact giving light on so many things which we are not even aware of. Okay, so here we go with the quiz and fastest finger first. Okay, so as Reddy sir were giving few examples for using analytics. So in that, with regards to talent acquisition, he has given some 3-4 softwares. So can you please give me 2 software names which has been helping in talent acquisition for analytics purpose?
Good question.
Answer like question. Answer like
Fastest finger, guys. Yeah, so for some extent, Jayan Jacob could give one. Yeah.
Seems to be
So
a
go ahead,
bit
Ugandar.
difficult
Yeah,
this
sure.
time.
So I think Jayan Jacob, because he has given Pulan aircraft as well as info, so both are correct with regards to talent acquisition.
Okay, so Mr. Jan Jacob is the winner for the week, Ugandar, as per you.
Yeah, true.
Can we declare him as the winner for
Yeah, please go ahead, Pankaj. Yeah.
the Mass Leadership book? Okay,
Yeah.
so we congratulate Mr. Jan Jacob for being the winner for the quiz winner this time. And you will be getting the Mass Leadership book from Mr. Prakash Sharma. So once again, congratulations. Please, everyone, you can write in the chat box, congratulate Mr. Jan Jacob. Thank you so much. And the best part, we have Mr. Prakash Sharma with us. So here I would like to invite Mr. Prakash to say hi to Mr. Ramesh. As I believe Prakash has just got free from his session and he'll be part of Leaders Connect today. So Prakash, I welcome you. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Pankaj. Hi, Mr. Ramesh. Yeah, I believe you're able to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I can. So,
Oh, hi. Thank you very much.
hi, Prakash. Very happy to be here. Thank you for
Very happy. Thanks very much. It was nice meeting you. It's been great honor that you've joined us. So members, Mr. Ramesh, we again a LinkedIn contact and connect, and it's really grateful that he accepted our invitation to join our Leaders Connect. Ramesh, I'd like to share a lot of points I've been listening within yours and Archana's discussion. In fact, it's been awesome. But one thing I really liked is I'm very happy and surprised to have all these so many leaders have come. The kind of a responsibility and commitment you have taken, sir, really great. I believe our team has helped you a lot. You also used our banner, the Leaders Connect, which I'm able to see since that's really making me awesome and feel great. But thanks very much for doing it. So, sir, that's really been awesome.
Sure.
And wonderful examples of Amazon and Uber where people analytics can be used. So great. So Ramesh, thanks very much. So now is the time for open questions. So we have more open questions from our members as well, I believe, and visitors. So visitors and members who are here, now is the time to ask the open questions to Mr. Ramesh. So there are two ways. Either if you have a question, raise your hand and we'll give an option to unmute yourself and you can ask question to Ramesh about the specific topic or any challenging pointers in respective to people analytics. Or type your question in the chat box and then we take the question on your behalf and we ask it to Mr. Ramesh. So these are two ways to ask more additional questions to Mr. Ramesh on specific pointers. So let's go ahead. If any questions are there or any hand raising is there, Arul, I would request you to, in case if any hand raisings are there, please go ahead and then unmute them. That will add value. Yeah. So I believe one question is there already on the chat box, Mr. Ramesh, and then I believe Mr. Saurav Das has been asking. Okay, he is, I believe, from the life insurance team. So, Mr. Saurav Das, would you like to take up this question, or on your behalf, maybe ask? But I'm not too sure when he asked this question. Mr. Saurav Das says, throw more light. It can be on life insurance middle line managers.
Yeah.
Okay, that means you need more examples, is what I understand, Mr. Saurav. Am I right?
Yeah. So I think Saurav is asking examples on hyper-personalization specific to midline insurance managers. So first of all, thanks for asking the question, Saurav. So what is hyper-personalization? So hyper-personalization is extremely specific to that particular individual and that particular instance. So that's what hyper-personalization means.
Yes.
So for example, if you're looking at insurance midline managers, so for example, they have sales targets. They have salespeople who have to sell so much insurance. And you have a person who is doing very well and you have another person who's not really doing so well. So your analytics can really look at what kind of sales leads the person who has succeeded has been able to create. See what is the reason for success. That is one set of analytics. Second is, if you look at the person who's been failing, your analytics can also tell you that the person is going to people with 45, 50 years of age and trying to sell probably a life insurance or a ULIP policy, which and that bracket, that segment of the market usually would have taken it already. So then you want to have a hyper-personalized intervention saying that, hey, look, you probably want to look at people between 25 and 28 years of age who just come out for term insurance, for life insurance, those who undergone COVID or any such trauma in the last 6 months, and they don't have an insurance. So that's the kind of audience you would like to look at. So these kind of very specific interventions for that person is what you can deliver based on the power of analytics. So I hope that answers the question, no, Saurav?
Great, yes. Definitely, sir. The way of where this could be used is very clearly given in terms of the insurance industry as well. So Saurav, I believe you can feel free to unmute yourself in case you have to add any. And then we have one more question, I believe, from Mr. Giri Selvaraj, who has raised his hand. So yes, Mr. Giri, can kindly introduce yourself and then you can go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Prakash ji.
Yes.
Today, very awesome. Every Wednesday, we are getting so many insights. And today, that chat bot, I thought that this is for marketing. But today, I came to know that this artificial intelligence helping when the people are hypertense, they are using any words. Now we can record and like that in ICICI Bank, like that. When the customer is calling, they are really very much tense and doing some conversation is helping to evaluate the people's like that. Okay, coming to my question is that already we all know that I started my career as an employer, self-employed. Now I am entrepreneur. Now I am becoming a socialpreneur like that. Really, that recruitment process I have to take care of since it's my small company. Each and everything I am carrying out. Before 6 months through MSME instruction, I recruited on HR. Then also the recruitment's not under my choices like that. But still, I don't know how to recruit the people. Can you please help me for like our SME company to recruit the how we can recruit the people? And still, after most of the thing, recently I interviewed almost 15 to 50, sorry, 30 to 50 members. The people are for service industry, sales and service, we are not getting proper people. And when we are doing recruitment, we are not they are willing to do the job. After joining, their interests are not that much interested to do the job. These are all the things we are not able to conclude the people, how to recruit and how to manage it to get the work, etc. from them.
Okay.
Very long question, but still.
To make it short.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all.
No problem. So thanks, Giri, again for asking that question. But it's a very valid question, and it takes a lot of guts to come and say that yes, I really have a problem in recruiting the right talent. Because I can tell you for sure, it is not only you. It is everybody who is recruiting doesn't really know how to recruit, including me. So you are not alone. So the first step, I'll just give you some few tips, Giri. So maybe that might help you to some extent. But this is a very long discussion, which probably will not have time. But I'll give you a few interventions which can really help you.
Yeah.
So the first thing is you come out with a very sharp role description, what you're looking for. So you need to really spend time sharpening the axe. So the role which you want to hire, you need to have such a crystal clear understanding. I would think that you write 2 pages full of A4 sheets and then crystallize it into a half-page kind of a role description. So this is the first step. After that, then if you use any tool for recruitment, for example, Naukri is a tool which is there. You can use Naukri services to search. The AI engine will be able to look for the keywords which you've created in this demand and give you the right match using text analytics. So this is step number 1. Step number 2, your interview, whoever is running the business, whoever is hiring has to take responsibility. It is not a HR person's responsibility to recruit the right person. This is extremely important. So it's not that we give it to HR and then we say that it's outsourced. It doesn't work that way. The person who needs that candidate is the absolute owner, and he or she has to ensure that they interview with the right set of questions. One, from a skill perspective. Second, you also have to evaluate soft skills, because whether the person will really fit into your culture of the organization, that's also very important. And third is, these are done probably well by HR experts. What is the average tenure you can expect from this person? What is the motivation for that person to join? So these are certain things which you really need to evaluate well. And then you need to do a compensation match as per the market and ensure that you give the right offer. So with all this, I think this will help you alleviate your problems to a great extent. But if there are specific issues, there are various HR consultants, there are leadership recruitment firms which help on recruitment. You can even partner with them to see how to get help from all these people. So those would be some tips, Giri.
Yes, sir, sure, sir. Actually, I followed a recruitment on HR through being a HR consultant. That has been failed. And the MSME told me that you can recruit HR, your headache will be over. Again, it has failed. So again, I have taken all the things under my control. Now I am having interview 15 minutes. After that, psychometric, almost 2 days I am doing counseling. Almost 2-3 interviews. I regularly am meeting the people and counseling really what they need, what is their interest, knowing about their family, their passion. Like that, 2-3 days I am doing like a psychologist.
True, Giri. In fact, just to add on, as Mr. Ramesh said, it's a continuous process now. And it is where we all are in the same process, but how more specifically can we recruit? Those are the pointers, in fact, Mr. Ramesh has shared. Maybe I would
But,
request you to just rethink
Prakashji,
all the pointers which Mr. Ramesh.
But people are liking me, sir. This is a different interview in our life we have attended. Nobody is asking, looking after a 10th mark sheet, +2 mark sheet, UG, PG, TC, each and every. I will go for that syllabus also. I will go for. If I am interested in environment, whatever you can tell me about environment, they are telling they don't know about anything about the environment.
Yeah. It's completely fine. Yeah, maybe your business is also unique. So that also requires the challenge as being into the water management services is your business. Very valid point when there could be certain niche people only you may be getting. But it's a process. Definitely, it's a lot of possibilities are there. You get more and more right manpower. We keep helping each other and let's stay connected with more people, Giri. That will add more value. Yeah. Great. Thanks very much. And I believe we can come to an end or one more question. So, Mr. Ramesh, we just have one more question. Can we take if time permits? I know it's time is already 7:15, but can we take one more question and then we come to an end, Mr. Ramesh? Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks very much. And I believe one question has come up in the chat box, I believe, and that's a bit from Ankur Mukherjee. At the time of interview, what tools can we use to come, okay, to have some idea or understanding on how long the person will continue if hired?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means this is moving from people analytics to more on recruitment now, I believe, Mr. Ramesh.
Which is okay. That's also a candidate analytics.
Yeah, it's part of it. I completely. Please go ahead, Ramesh. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of tools, like even Giri mentioned a couple of minutes back. There are psychometric tests, so which a lot of organizations use. So Ankur, it can be, for example, Caliper is an example of psychometric tool. So that's one example. So you will have to administer such psychometric tests to understand what is the cultural fit of the person. There's nothing which is correct or wrong, but what matches your organization requirement. Because see, if the cultural fit is very high, then the stickiness will also probably be pretty high. Now, if you usually why does infant mortality, as I define it? What is infant mortality? Infant mortality is people who've joined leaving less than 3 months or 6 months. Now, just let's take the exception of this great resignation, which has happened in the last 3 to 6 months out, because that's an outlier. You will see that the markets will stabilize. You will see that people also become more stable. And this kind of pay hikes and jumping across organizations is not here to stay. But if you take that portion of what has happened post-pandemic for the last 6 months or so out, and if you really look at why people leave within the first 3 months or 6 months, they would the first reason is culturally they think it is a shock because they come from a very different background. So the psychometric test will help ensuring that there's a cultural fit. Second is you hired the wrong person for the role. So that's exactly an allied question which Giri also asked. So if you look at it, you promise the person is coming with an expectation of doing something in his or her role. But when he or she joins, he or she is shocked because the kind of requirements is completely different, and the job definition is very different from what was told to him or her before during the interview time. So those would be the main reasons why people would leave. Of course, beyond that, employee engagement, the right compensation, those are things which the HR will have to consistently be connected with the employees over a period of time. But these would be the two examples I would want to quote to answer your question at this point of time.
Great. Thank you very much, Ramesh, for sharing that question. And that's an awesome answer which has been given. I'm sure this would have been suffice. Great. So I believe, there are much more to come and many more people hands raising are there. We would request you to share those questions on email. Then later we will share it with you, Ramesh. I know time is also pressing and we would do that. And great, our team and awesome. It's been interacting with you all. And Ramesh is also there who has really helped us to share his insights of his leadership journey in terms of people analytics. Though there were much more questions come across in terms of recruitment, but major impacts, yes, as a part of people analytics, where we use for recruitment also plays a role. So wonderfully shared. So let's quickly summarize all these aspects. And before that, Arul has already shared about all our guests. Maybe Mr. Ramesh's LinkedIn ID is also on the chat box, and Ms. Archana Sreeram's LinkedIn ID also is on the chat box. So quickly, feel free to stay connected with Mr. Ramesh and Ms. Archana on LinkedIn, which will help us to keep connected. So with that note, let's come to a summary of what all we have understood. So for the summary, I would request Mr. Sendil to share the summary of our program completely today. So Sendil, quickly introduce yourself, and then you can share a short summary, and then we come to an introducing next week leader, and we end our session for today. Yes, Sendil, in short, quickly.
Thank you very much, Prakash. Thank you very much, Ramesh, for giving a deeper insights. By the way, let me introduce myself. I'm Senthil, working in Daimler since 13 years, presently handling a role of L&D since 2018. And today's session was a more inculcative and more reciprocating on the present challenges what we face with respect to people analytics. But unfortunately, my internet had some glitch which I could not able to grasp the full information. But anyway, within the limited time, I'll try my best to give you the glimpse of what I have captured at my end.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tim. It started with this employee engagement. The time when I jumped into this forum, it was starting with the employee engagement process. And second thing was organization, which should be carrying and engaging the employees when it comes to the employee performance. And other one was the role-based hyper intervention training, where you have already given a clarification and example of this. And next thing is about the compensation and benefit, which we said that it must reflect to the market reality rather than on the individual or biased with practice. The next one, coming to the talent acquisition using the people analytics app, there are many intellectual apps that are available. Few such apps which I could able to capture is the Bullhorn, Info, and the Hirecraft. So these are some of the things which I could able to capture. But the most important thing is to use this app more effectively. We should be very cautious with the analytical data what we have, which is nothing but a junk in, junk out methodology. Coming to the different tools which has been used presently is predicting the attritions. One such example is using this telephone conversation. We can able to understand the emotional tactics of an employee, through which it can be calibrated to the time by which the employee will try to leave the organization about his attrition, giving as an alarm, red alarm, or the alert to the manager or to the recruitment team. Second is the pandemic situation. Most of the onboarding, as you said rightly, happened only through virtual, and sometimes it has happened in a digital way, where people had challenges in getting their ID cards and other infrastructure facilities like plug-in softwares and other things. And where we can easily capture this input using the feedback analytics, which would be more helpful for the organization. And next is the succession planning using a stacking ranking. So this is one such new terminology which I could be able to hear today in my 3 years of journey in HR. So where the KPI brings in about the 70% and rest 30% can be groomed or can be bridged by using shadowing or any other methodology, where the supervisor can handhold his successor and groom it to the next level. So these were some of the topics which I could capture from this.
Excellent. Wonderful, Sendil. I feel that your internet was very well and fine.
That's what even I thought. No, with this internet, if he is doing this, he can do the next session without me.
Wonderful. Great chapter. Wonderful and quick pointers. Please do share these pointers of what we have understood and learned from Mr. Ramesh on our WhatsApp group, which will help us for the people who might have missed in joining in today. So can do the same, Sendil. Great. So thanks very much for a quick summary. And we've finally come to the concluding of sharing. Before we thank all the leaders who have joined us today and thank Mr. Ramesh, we also introduce our next week's leader, and we come to a thanking part of it as well. So quickly, and over to you, Arul, for the vote of thanks, and then introduce the next week leader, and we come to close.
Thank you, Prakasha. Thank you so much. So let me. So thank you, Mr. Ramesh. It's a great pleasure to have you in the forum, and it's an amazing session we had today with you on the topic of power of people analytics. We got so many insight about people analytics, and thank you so much for that. And now, before sharing about the next week leader, let me quickly share again the purpose of the community. For the visitors who are attending for the first time, Leaders Connect 360 is an hybrid model leadership community where every week on Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m., we invite a top management leader from a reputed corporate company to share the solution for our real-time challenging, either leading self, leading others, or leading your business, like how we see Mr. Ramesh today. This Leaders Connect 360 online leadership community also gives an opportunity to network with people on the last Wednesday of every month through online, and once in 3 months with the direct networking at each city to network with working professionals for personal, professional, or a social need. That's when we call it as leaders creating more leaders. If you wish to join our community, please click on the WhatsApp group link, which is on your chat box, and you will be able to join us to receive weekly updates. So now I'm happy to introduce the next week leader. Let me share the slide now. So our next week guest is Mr. Viral Trivedi, Director of Software Development, Oracle. And the author of the week is Mr. Akshay Sharma, and panel discussion leader, Ms. Renuka, Penicia Facility Management. So it's on next week, 21st September 2022, Wednesday, which is on next week, Wednesday. And the topic is brutal honesty, which is an amazing topic, I guess. So Zoom link for the next episode will be shared through WhatsApp group on the social media platform shortly. Members who wish to be the panel discussion can give your names on the WhatsApp group or kindly interact with me. My name is Arul, and now I'd like to thank Mr. Ramesh for giving us so many insights about the topic, and thank you so much for being here in the forum, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you very much, Ramesh. And now we have a thank you video. And for all the members and visitors, people who have joined us for the first time as well, now is an opportunity for us to introduce ourselves. Maybe after the video, Mr. Ramesh, if you feel that you want to join us, fine. Or if you have any other commitments, we're completely fine. We do a networking as well to give an opportunity to introduce each other there. So that's what we do after the video. But we request all the members and people who've joined us for the first time to avail this opportunity as well. So it'll help us.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, everyone. It was an amazing show. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramesh, Alluri. That's been really great, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
And have for everyone, have this thanking video for all. Great, awesome. Oh, most of the people have already done. Me, Giri, Velayudam, and Jay.